Excuse me, do you want to lift? This place looks so nice. It's so beautiful. But the funny thing was, a honey badger stole my dad's shoes.
This episode is brought to you by Halfway Toyota and Vortex Optics. Oh, listen to that kettle going. That is lovely.
Brooks by the sun. That's where we're going, Kubu Island.
Okay team, so we have just come through the border post on the Botswana side at Stockport, and what a breeze. Absolutely easy. Just no problem, there's nobody else there. Went in, did insurance, did the passports, and off we go. We are now in Botswana and on the main leg of this journey. So looking forward to getting to Khama Rhino Sanctuary tonight and just taking it easy there. So yep, let's enjoy the drive. We're going to turn off to Khama Rhino Sanctuary. So just for that note, it's pretty much exactly 200 kilometers from Stockport border post. Anyway, been a lovely simple drive, and here we go.
So right now we are in Khama Rhino Sanctuary, and we've just signed in to come here, and this place is already so beautiful. I've already seen this hornbill just sitting here being so relaxed, and I just got out the camera and I've got so close to him, and he's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
So we've just come into Khama, and I've signed in, but we're just going to pop into the shop here quickly, get some firewood, and then we're going to shoot around to the bird hide before going to the bush camp, well, the campsite, and have a squeeze of the bird hide, and then we're going to go to the campsite and set up.
Hello. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good.
So it's only fitting to add our sticker to the collection of all the other YouTubers and overlanding guys. So cool little bird hide. We've just gone in and had a look at this hide here. Little bit tired, but nice nonetheless. Bit of water there, and I'm sure there's quite a bit of game drinking there in the mornings in the heat of the day. It was quiet there now, but it is late afternoon, so we thought we'd just pop in and have a look.
Everywhere I look, there's like thousands there, 3,000 there, 2,000 there, and like there's so many. I think Botswana is known for these bugs. I don't really know what they are. I think they're stink bugs, because one went on me and then it smelled so bad. So they're probably stink bugs. But I can handle with bugs, but not this many bugs. It's like...
The Safari family got campsite number 4. And number 4 is quite nicely situated, close to ablutions and that, so it's a neat campsite. Tonight it's time to test drive the Billy the Kid bull dust beef spice on our steaks, on our rump steaks. We're going to do 2 rump steaks tonight with a bit of mealies. Just keep it simple, but let's throw that on there. For these one night stops, we're going to put out, well, we've put out the rooftop tent there, and I jump in there with the kids. They're pretty much small enough, and it is cold at the moment, so we all snuggle nice and close. There's enough space for all 3 of us in there, and Connor's a bit of a wriggle fart, but yeah, I'll put him next to on the other side of Hannah, so I don't have to deal with him in the night. But yeah, for these one night stops we'll do that, and then when we get to the sort of the Okavango region, about Mankwe and that, we'll put up the big dome tent and set that up, because we'll be there for a few days. But for the one night stops, the pop-up tent is just fine, and doesn't overload us with work to do in the morning. So
that is so nice. This is some of the best steak I've had in years. Music video. Stay alive, stay alive. It's so warm. Oh, that's what.
Alright team, we have just left Khama Rhino Sanctuary, and we're getting back on the tar road and making our way to Kubu Island.
Kubu Island, here we come.
And I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of show you how we do it inside the vehicle with regards to traveling with the children. These two, Hannah and Connor, have done some serious mileage with me over time, We've done some big trips, long distances, and they just they're fantastic with how they travel in a vehicle, and it's an absolute blessing. But there's a few things that I think, you know, make it a bit easier on them. You know, you got to be a little bit empathetic to children and sitting in a vehicle for a long time. And I am super happy to let the kids play on their phones. They've both got cell phones, but we've uploaded games and we've uploaded apps for birding and animals and maps and all of that stuff, so they can definitely get a little bit educated while they're doing stuff. But you know, I'm super happy for them to be able to sit and play on their phones to kill a bit of time, especially on these long trips. I mean, we're probably doing on this tour altogether about 5,000 kilometers. Going with the phones, I have a couple of spots where I've got these little magnetic discs that they can actually stick their phone on and be hands-free, USB charging points, and so they can charge their phones or their tablets. You know, there's not a competition for charging space in the vehicle, so they've each got their own charging point, which is great. And then, you know, just obviously things like a snack box each, where they've got their sweets and toys and things like that they can have close to them. I like to let them have a blankie each, and you know, be able to keep warm, and a pillow on the back, so you know, when they decide they want to have a little snooze, they can you know, put their head back and take a sleep. Here we are. We have gone through Letlakani this morning and made our way to the Kubu office at Muchenje, and pretty cool office. You'll see the sign here, you won't miss it as you're coming into the small town. And we just went in, we had pre-booked and prepaid, so just confirmed everything there, and we'll go off here. The tar ends just down here and goes onto dirt, and we'll take a ride, go to the viewing platform, and then head over to the pans.
Full of rocks by the sand, that's where we're going, Kubu Island.
Alright, so just out of the offices, a few k's down the road, you get to the lookout, the viewing point over some of the pans, the sewer pan.
We are heading to Kubu Island, and we are on the roads to get to it. And right now we are going to the sand place, and this is so cool. There's so much sand, and it's so soft. This place looks so nice. It's so beautiful.
Okay, the joy of having an 8-year-old that knows how to drive, and now SafariDad can sit back and relax while Connor Boy takes us off to Kubu Island through the pans. He's doing a great job. I'm sitting here chilling, listening to some music, and Hanabi is sitting up top on the rooftop tent getting some wind through her hair. And Connor Boy is just having a great time driving here. It's absolutely beautiful. We're about to hit the big pan now, sewer pan. We're not too far. We're 17 kilometers from Kubu Island still, but we're getting there and just having a fun drive. It's super cool. As you can see, we've got some driving going on by the kids. Connor drove us all the way to Kubu Island, about 30 k's. Hannah's doing some driving now. We're at the island, and it's pretty safe out here, so yeah, just letting her have some fun. So dry and parched out here in the desert. Makhari pans, the wind's blowing, there's sand everywhere, not a drop of water, mirages. But wait!
Excuse me, do you want to lift?
What? How's this chick driving this beautiful Hilux? She got some stud there next to her. Dude! Okay, I'll get a lift of you guys. So as you can see, we have been playing amongst the rocks here at Kubu Island here in the Makhari Pans. This is Sewer Pan behind me. Look at that, that's just a massive expanse of pan right there. And we camping on the backside, on the western side of the island, all the campsites on the west side of the island. And they say there's about 46 baobabs on this island. We've seen a few of them. A lot of them are on the eastern side and the southern side. Really, really pretty. We haven't gone down there.
So these are the fruits from a baobab tree, and they're called cream de tartar, and they're really, really nice. We've just been eating some now, and this is how they look. They look quite weird, but you eat them, but there's a pip inside though, and you can't eat the pip, but you can eat the outside, and it's
Very
like
nice.
really nice.
Very, very, very nice.
Guys, it's pretty sad that, you know, if you look at this beautiful young baobab next to me here, it's got graffiti all over it, and people find the need to write their names in here and scratch their names, and for everybody else to see who has no idea who they are. It could be one of millions of people out there. Absolutely unnecessary and absolutely needs to be discouraged. It's just terrible. This poor little guy. So don't do it. If you see friends doing it, please tell them not to do it. Game wise, up here in Kubu Island, there's not too much happening here from a game perspective, but there's some decent birding to be done. All your sort of typical Kalahari type species, your violet-eared waxbills, your black-faced waxbill, secretary bird, Murico sunbird, we saw Bennett's woodpecker here, what else, Melba finch, red-headed finch. So yeah, just a couple of cool things flopping around. Yeah, good, some decent little birding to be done here. And then obviously your grasslands, you've got some pipits and larks and that as well. And your ant-eating chats. There's 13 campsites here at Kubu Island. And these campsites you have to book in advance typically. And they are first come first serve on a location basis. You can't book specific sites. So we had made our way through and took a drive around, had a look at the various sites. Now the various sites are they're all pretty good actually. There's everyone has got its own little vibe. Some of them have got more shade than others, so depending what time of year you're here and how long you're here. Number 6 is the site that you first see as you drive in, that looks back over the pan on a little sort of rocky ledge over here. It's a really nice site. It's not one that's got no shade, but for a view, for a sunset, it's fantastic. But there was somebody there, and we actually took the next site number 5, which is also nestled up against the hills and the rocks and some big trees, and it's a really cool site actually. I think it's pretty neat. And we set up there amongst these beautiful trees, and got a lot of bird life around us, and we're very close to the rocks for the kids to be able to run and play. There are, however, a lot of devil thorns here, so from a kid's perspective, let them just run around in a pair of shoes. And the other sites are spread out quite nicely, and a lot of them are sort of in the flats out in the grassy sand flays there. And yeah, some of them have got some big trees. The guys have sort of moved in up next to those, and they're pretty decent. They look like they've set up for a while, so they're looking for some shade, those guys. And one thing to remember here on Kubu Island, that there are no facilities whatsoever, no Wow, they've got some pit latrines. I haven't even been to them to see if they're in any use. I doubt it, any good. But there's nothing. There's no water, there's no electricity, there's nothing. So when you come camping here at Kubu, you have to be completely self-sufficient. And then tomorrow we're going to head out across the big pans up to Gweta on our way back to Maun. And I think the thing is to just speak to the guys that either work at the offices or that are camping here and see what the conditions are like, if there's any water, or it's a threat to get stuck. But at the moment for us it's bone dry, and we're going to make our way straight across there tomorrow. It's super cool and definitely worth coming here just to have a sunset like we're having right now. So we're going to enjoy a sundowner, and then we're going to go and cook some supper. Tonight is butternut soup night, so we're going to warm up some lovely butternut soup and enjoy that around the fire. And the kids will be up in the rooftop tent. I will be out on the stretcher this evening having a good sleep in my thermal sleeping bag. This is a sleeping bag I used in the Arctic, so it's a minus 40 degree sleeping bag. So yeah, one can still enjoy a cold evening out here. But how about this? Super cool. Look at that. And there's our camp. Here's a good old Hilux in our kitchen unit. We're having such a great time.
Hello? Mine's still on fire.
It's a chilly morning here in Kubu Island. And this morning comes with a story. Although we heard Jackal giving it gears last night, I checked out for the tracks and followed the tracks, and we have one times honey badger that decided to chew on these. Now he left Hannah's shoes either for one of two reasons. I found the one sort of halfway out there and the other one still on the bag. One, either that they were too smelly or that they are synthetic and he's not really interested, whereas these are leather. But the fact is, he came in and he snuck those out under me while I was sleeping, the bastard, and dragged them both off. And not just one, he obviously came back for the other. So anyway, honey badger shrapnel.
So right now we have just left Kubu Island. It was very fun there, but I'm very sad that we're leaving. But the funny thing was, a honey badger stole my dad's shoes, and that was a thief. So crazy.
So right now there's a double banded Corsa, and he was on the road. He just flew to this open patch over here, and this is a new bird for me. And I have got a couple new birds. We're trying to get 300 on this trip.
We are still on the trip from Kubu Island to Gweta to Maun. So we're just doing the link across to Gweta. It's dry, it's no problem, but being dry it is, but proper dry and fine thick dust. So everything's full of dust right now. But Hannah's having a blast. We're in Twetwe Pan right now, and it's an expansive pan. It's huge. It goes all the way around there. This is a nice long straight stretch across the pan, and Hannah B's having a blast here, doing a great job. This episode is brought to you by Halfway Toyota.
This is new for me and Connor.
So we have just stopped in at Halfway Toyota in Maun. It's a bit of chaos at the moment because they're busy redoing the entire halfway here. It's going to look absolutely amazing once it's all done. So it's in a state of chaos at the moment with all the construction going on. But Andre and the team have kindly taken us in, and we've just brought the vehicle in for a little quick checkup and cleaning out the air filter, etc., and then we'll get back on the road just now. But big shout out to Halfway Toyota, and thanks so much for your guys' support and keeping the Safari family on the road, and looking super cool to coming back to Maun sometime to come and see what this all looks like when it's finished, because it's going to be absolutely amazing.
So this runs through the radiator, the wind blows through that, falls the small fins on the inside. The place that gasket there, you see that silver one down there? That little switch here on the inside, when you switch it on to forward right, you switch it on and it connects the front wheels.
Because look how high it is.
So after arriving in Maun and spending a little bit of time with the guys at Land Toyota and going through the vehicle, we were scheduled to stop over at Sitatunga last night, which we did.
Welcome to the Safari family.
We were going to camp here, but I changed my mind. We took a little chalet for the night, a little cabin, a little 2-bedroom cabin, which was super cool. Everything we need just to chill out and relax a little bit. We've been on the go for a few days. It's about 10 kilometers outside of town to the west of Maun, which is awesome that you're not just in the sort of hustle and bustle of everything. Yeah, it's a great place for campers. There's sort of A-frame shelters to camp under or open campsites. There's some cabins to stay in. There's overlanding deals. There's swimming pools. There's a restaurant. There's games for the kids. So Sitatunga is a really, really cool place to just get out the way and come chill. So yeah, we'd highly recommend coming to Sitatunga. We thoroughly enjoyed our quick stay here and would recommend it to any guys just wanting to tap out while coming through Maun and chill out for a day or two. All right, team, so we have just arrived at Delta Meat Deli. We pre-ordered some meat. We sent them an email last week about what we wanted to order. You can send them an email, they'll send you their whole price list, and you can make an order and collect it frozen for when you're ready to go in and do what you need to do on your trip. So we're going to go in and collect our order and pay for it and head out. On our way out from town here in Maun, we've done some shopping at the new mall, at the Maun Mall, the Mall of Maun, and it's it's quite a mall. It's got everything. So if you're driving in from down south, stop in there and you can get everything you need. There's a nice fuel station there as well. And then on our way out, as if you're heading up towards the Okavango side, the Moremi side, on your way out of town on the right hand side there is Kavango breweries, and we stopped in here at Kavango to get some of their local craft beer and to test run some of that on this tour. And there is a lovely coffee shop here as well. You can get eats and drinks, and there's a kiddies playground area, so that's fantastic to maybe add this into your itinerary. Stop off here and see what's going on here. All right, and then we're going to make our way up to Chobe now. We'll catch you all there. So we are staying with friends of ours, good friends Gareth and Rob's Flemix at Chobe this evening. We just stopped in at their work to say hi. They are frantically packing. They have got a couple of safaris back to back coming up in the Kalahari, which they are going to go back down to next week. So they got 30 odd days back to back of safari. So the workshop is chaos. There's vehicles and equipment, Land Rovers with their bonnets open and equipment being loaded everywhere. And so we're going to leave them up to it, a quick hi, and we'll see them a little bit later at their house. So we're going to hit the road and go to their place now. So we've got to Gareth and Rob's place up outside Chobe, sort of half within the delta. We've been here a few times with them before, and they're going to get back a bit later because they're still sorting stuff out for safari. So we're taking the dogs for a walk and doing some birding and see what elephants we can see or whatever. Connor Boy and I have just been taking a walk up along the Komoti River here and doing some birding and getting Connor to practice his photography and finding a couple of spots where the community's been using gill nets, catching some fish for consumption, which is cool. However, often these nets get discarded when they get all tangled up and torn and broken, and maybe by elephants or hippos, crocodiles. And we found this net laying in the grass right here, and just explaining to Connor, like, all sorts of things get caught up in these nets when they just get discarded, and including birds. And as I said that, Connor was like, "Oh no, there's a pied kingfisher, Dad." And as he lifted it up some more, and here we have a pied kingfisher caught in this net, and yeah, very unfortunate. And I think what happens with these guys is these nets catch little bream and that, and the kingfisher sees the bream, doesn't notice the net. Obviously it's very fine and transparent, and dives down, catches the fish, and in the meantime gets himself all wrapped up and tangled up in the net and dies. And here's a case of it happening right here. Oh, it's pretty sad. And you know, this nets just get left laying around, which can cause a whole bunch of damage in itself. So yeah, it's very unfortunate. The sort of the collateral damage with these nets is quite big.
Kingfishers are my favorite birds, and especially the half-collared. But this is probably like my third favorite kingfisher. I just don't like to see this dead.
Oh, yes, you actually. Connor, you came in with a double there.
Oh!
He likes a 500.
Your double's burning.
We love visitors, we love to sing. We are eating marshmallows, having fun.
And we have our friends from KwaZulu-Natal here in the Okavanga Delta, and we're so blessed to have them, and these two and their dad, to be with us in the Okavanga Delta. And
my
Brian.
marshmallows are ballooing.
So it is a new morning. We have left Chobe this morning, our friends at Chobe, and we have now hit the famous road that heads up to Moremi, to the cattle fence. So we are on the bouncy dirt road, the corrugated road, and we are slowly making our way to Mankwe today. Those of you traveling this road with all your overland equipment, vehicles and stuff, make sure it's latched down nice and tight, because you're going to rattle your way all the way up to Moremi or Kwai or wherever you're going. Some serious corrugations and dips and goes here. So make sure everything is tied down, because it's going to be rattled loose, including your fillings by the time you get there. But anyway, it's all part of the adventure. So we have just arrived at Mankwe. We just had a look around. It looks absolutely beautiful here. Come into reception to the main camp.
Alright, hello.
Hello.
And you are?
Hello.
Hannah. Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice to
Alan.
meet you. Can we get a massage?
Right on, everybody. So we have arrived at our campsite at Mankwe. So they've got 6 campsites here. It's really cool. We check in at reception, and then they jump in a cruiser and they drive to show you where your campsite is, and you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and you just go deeper into the bush. Eventually rock up at your campsite, and it's in the middle of nowhere, super remote. Look at this. This is our site here. So we've got our own ablution over there. It's got 2 sets of toilets and showers. It's a bucket shower. So obviously there's nothing out here. There's water, but it's obviously quite salty water, and not really for drinking, but for showering, etc. But for hot water, boil the water on the fire, and it's got a bucket shower. Hoist that up and use your bucket shower for a hot shower. But lovely little facility over there. It's great to have your own ablution. And then this is our campsite, man. Look at this beautiful big old acacia here. So there's a little high point there. We're going to probably put the 3x3 up there. Now that we're going to be here for 5 days, we'll not necessarily use the rooftop too much, maybe a little bit if the kids want to, but we're going to set up nicely here and get ourselves settled in for a few days of wilderness. And then yeah, we're just in the bush, so we sort of mix Mapani, Terminalia, scrubland here along Carpus, and yeah, elephant tracks in camp and hyena and all of that. So looking forward to spending the next few days here and then going up and exploring Kwai and Northgate and that area. But let's set up camp. First night in Mankwe, and time for a great rump steak and a good old dose of Billy the Kid bull dust beef spice. Got a wonderful campfire going in the background. The kids are filthy dirty behind me, playing in the sand as they have all afternoon. I've just had a nice warm bucket shower and about to cook some supper. Lovely afternoon, time for a G&T and to enjoy the day. Cheers guys, we'll see you tomorrow on a journey up to Kwai and hopefully some awesome game viewing. It's a beautiful morning here at Mankwe. We had a pretty uneventful night last night, heard jackal, and we heard spotted hyenas, and the hyenas were in camp last night, but they were quiet in camp. There's just lots of tracks around camp this morning, but they behaved themselves. And also heard some ellies in the distance, and this morning ellies not too far away down here rumbling. So just a nice chilly morning. We're going to grab a cup of coffee and a quick bite to eat, and then we are going to make our way up to Kwai this morning to go and do some game viewing. Alright, so we have just arrived up at Northgate. There's a link road that we took from Mankwe, heads through all the Mapani, pretty long quiet drive, and we've come to the inside of the gate at Northgate. So we're going to go and just pay there for the day, and then we're going to go and cruise around and do some game viewing.
Welcome to Moremi.
So right now there's three ground hornbills next to this stream, and it's behind this big termite mound, and we just turn around to take some pictures of them. It's so stunning. They're just jumping over it and eating and drinking. It's so nice.
So we've had a wonderful morning game viewing up here in from Northgate up along the Kwai River, and we just been exploring, really, just taking all the roads. The Gaia GPS app is super useful in navigating your way around, so I'd highly recommend Gaia just for all your travels, actually anywhere. I've always used it for about 3 years now. So we had a lovely drive in to make our way to Hippo Pools. Got here to have some food, some lunch, and Connor Boy has made us some tuna mayo rolls, which is fantastic, and the kids are having a juice and I'm having a G&T, and just climbed up the very sketchy hide here at Dombo Hippo Pools. And be careful, the stairs are falling apart. The termites have got a hold of this thing properly, and it's pretty risky getting up here, but the view from up here when you've made it up is pretty beautiful. We've got a lot of hippos out here making their way to the water. I've got some elephant there, more hippos, some crocodile, an open-billed stork, jacanas, pied kingfishers, a lot of bird life around us. We've got pirate batis, we've got chin-spot batis calling, heartlib's babbler right there, greyback comaroptera, and yeah, just a whole host of other things out there. So yeah, it's really pretty. It's a lovely spot, this hippo pool, and definitely worth making the effort driving and getting yourself here to the pool. in screaming through all this woodland, this Mapani woodland on the way back to Mankwe, which is just a long straight road for 45 kilometers. Now on my right hand side I saw a special for the Mapani woodlands. It's called an Arnott's Chat, and there were actually 3 of them, and they were super chilled, and they were right here, and Connor managed a whole bunch of cool photographs. But what that means with the Arnott's Chat, that's a really cool way to do it, is Connor Curtis gets his 300th species of bird. Look at that, boy. You have now joined now joined the 300 Club. Connor Curtis from the SA Listers Club. Your 300th bird, big guy. Well done, man.
Thank you.
Well done, my big guy. Yay, that's cool, eh?
Yeah.
And that's a special bird to get your 300th with. Hey, man. Mwah, well done. So Hannah got this a while ago, but Connor's got there now. So super proud of him.
So this is a elephant tusk. This is a very, very old tusk. We just found a line here while we were driving, so
It's actually quite heavy.
we just thought we
I
would
see.
take a picture with it and move on.
Morning everybody. We had a beautiful night last night. It was uneventful. Actually didn't hear much at all. Heard some lions far in the distance. Got up this morning, there's some impala out behind me. Got the fire going, and time for a proper cup of coffee this morning.
So that was pretty cool. It's a cloudy morning, and we have decided to head down to Southgate this morning and go and explore some of the areas down there. And we are heading down the road back towards Cattle Fence to take Southgate Road, the main drag from Semkuyu. And we had a whole pack of wild dogs crossing the road in front of us as we just cruising down chatting. So that's really neat. A nice pack of probably 10 to 15 wild dogs. And we also saw a honey badger just coming out of camp. It was too quick, we didn't get any footage of it, but super lucky morning. I mean, our first 2 animals of the day was honey badger and African wild dog. That's cool. So we're looking forward to what lays ahead of us today. All right, let's go to Southgate, Moremi.
So right now I'm doing a list of species that we have seen on this trip, and we've seen about 27, but we're still going to see a lot more because we still have to go to Vic Falls in Zimbabwe, and there's probably going to be lots more there.
This young elephant bull on the left hand side came and knocked down this massive tree, and it's so cool because they use their trunk, and it's just their trunk is so hard that they push the tree down and it just snaps. But now he's busy eating, and now there's 3 here, but the one on the right hand side, that one came to steal food, and now this younger one has just came in.
So special to be down here on the Komoti. We've spent a bit of time on the other side, Korokwe side, NG32, a few years ago, and we actually saw, I think it was 22 lions had killed 9 buffalo, if memory serves me correctly. just further up on the floodplains, on the Gomoti floodplains. But this river's beautiful. There's some hippo down here, a lot of bird life, white-faced whistling duck, darters, cormorants, fish eagle, white-browed kukul. There's some crocodiles, yeah, chicanas, all the normal stuff, but it's absolutely stunning.
Very good. Right now I have a white-faced owl behind me. This is new for me and Connor. And I love the sound, and it's kind of creepy for some reason because it has like red eyes, but it's a cool spot.
We have had lots of inquiries from people over time about our camping setup. So I thought I would just take this time to show you what we as the Safari family use. Our setup, every setup is different. Everybody's got different ideas, things that work for them. But we've had questions about ours, so I thought I'd give you a bit of a guided tour of our setup while we're camping here for 5 days at Mankwe. At this point, I just want to mention that nothing has been sponsored. In none of these products I'm promoting for any other reason other than we use them. I have purchased everything I've bought, I've saved up, I've sold things to buy other things, and I've done what I can. Now, you don't need all of this stuff, and there's a lot more that we could also do, but it's where you are and what you can afford. So with what I can afford to do right now and set up, this is how we roll. I've got obviously a double cab 2.4 automatic Toyota Hilux, a 2020 model Toyota Hilux, and I've got a front runner roof rack on the cab, and I've got a front runner roof rack on my Smart Cap Evo canopy. Really awesome canopy. Now, on the side of that canopy, I have a gull wing with a kitchen unit in there. It is actually from an older model, but I managed to get a hold of it through a friend of mine, so I modified and cut and grinded and made a plan and got it to fit. So the kitchen unit is really cool. I find it super useful. I have a LU cab 270-degree awning. Awesome, absolutely amazing, love it. It takes less than a minute to open up and less than a minute to fold away, and just provides great shade or a little bit of shelter if it's drizzy for a while. On top of the front runner, on the cab, there is I've got a spade on the side. I use a spade all the time for various reasons and purposes. Got a 40-litre water container that I've adapted a tap to it with a hose that I clip in, and that just comes down the side of the vehicle to be able to get to water, to wash hands, drinking water, whatever. And on the other side is another front runner bracket with two 20-litre water jerry cans, just for extra water if needed. I don't obviously keep those full all the time unless I'm needing water or we're going into a remote area like this or through the Savuti. So water containers, then in the middle, a bracket for a 9-kilo gas bottle. So that's the roof racks. That's all we got. Oh, and then the other side of the roof rack is a high lift jack and we call them a kalemba or a machete. That's just got a wing nut, easy to get off to cut trees and things that have fallen out on the road, or cut branches and camp or whatever. The rooftop tent is a Howling Moon rooftop tent on that side. It's a great rooftop tent. I really enjoy them. I think they're quick and easy to use, and there's a lot of space in these ones. At times the cover gets torn with the brush that you go through. I think ultimately, you know, this is our setup, but obviously we have goals and dreams. And I think a hard shell on top there would suit us a little bit better and easier to open and close than getting up there, zipping, folding. And you know, often that zip gets sticky and needs a bit of Q20 on there as well. Gathers dust, and so yeah, it's a great rooftop, and we use it often. I mean, we really do. But a hard shell at some point will be awesome. Just make life a little bit easier. You know, a lot of this, obviously, the kids have got their roles and the things that they do, but I'm the one that ends up doing it all the time, most of the stuff. 2 spare wheel brackets on there. I like to carry 2 spares for remote traveling, and on each of the spares, you'll see the spare wheel covers on there. By Mark at 4x4 Assist, they're absolutely amazing covers. They are top class. These are the 6-pocket ones. There's a bunch of places to put a bunch of things, and you probably end up losing stuff inside them. They're like these backpacks with so many pockets and pouches in them that you forget where things are. And before I forget, also attached to the front runner, I have the front runner table that slides and clips in below the roof rack, and it's super accessible. Really, really great place to store a table, and really convenient to be able to slide it out and use it wherever you're traveling on the fly. In the back of my Hilux now, because I use my vehicle for many different purposes, at this stage I don't have a sliding tray system in the back here, but I do have a fridge in the back there. So I have an auxiliary battery with a solar charge controller and a 1000-watt inverter and a battery point there, and run all of that either off of the vehicle while we're traveling, or I have a 200-watt solar panel, foldable solar panel, a ready solar panel system here. They work super efficiently. I'm very happy with these 200-watt panels. Inside the gull wing, I also have one of those pouches for a bench seat in a bakkie, and I've just pop riveted that onto the back here, and I keep a bunch of spare parts and ropes and tie downs, etc. inside there, just out of the way off the floor. And then what I do is I strap the solar panels up into the top of the canopy for storage. Keeps them safe as a flat unit. And then if we come around this side of the vehicle, obviously we have the gull wing on this side, which opens up as well on the smart cap, which I absolutely love. And this is where I get to my fridge through here, and just a nice easy way to get in there. And I clip the lid open against one of the eyelets on the top here. Keeps the lid open while I'm trying to work in here, get stuff out and close it up. So that's pretty much my setup on this side of the vehicle. And inside the vehicle, if we go inside the vehicle, I have touched on this before. It's a pretty cool setup. Now, in the front of the car, I have a dash cover, I have escape gear seat covers, escape gear dash cover. 4x4 Assist does all of this stuff as well, and I got these awesome visors, sun visor pouches from them on both sides from Mark. It's an absolute win to put wallets in and pens and papers and whatever else you need. I do have a series of magnetic night ease points for the cell phones. I have a Garmin GPS as well. Drive Smart 65, so it's a couple of years old, but it works great and tracks for Africa on there. I have Old Man Emu suspension on the vehicle with the extra spring on the back, just to help with that weight load, that payload that we've got on the vehicle. You know, there is a lot of weight on the back end, especially when you put these rear bumpers on and you have, you know, 2 spares on the back sitting far back, you know, away from the axle. It just all adds to that weight. So yeah, just be careful not to overload your vehicle if possible, and try and, you know, obviously with the roof racks, one ends up putting a lot of stuff there from a safety perspective of, you know, your roll factor of the vehicle and your control of the vehicle. Just try and distribute your weight as evenly as possible over the axles. I have wired in an extra light on the back, LED light, just to help with reversing. Now, due to my bad back scenario, I need a good night's sleep. Maybe it's just getting old, and I opt to sleep on a stretcher bed. And so I have a heavy duty stretcher. You will see the kids are in here now, chilling out. I have a stretcher bed with the mattress on there, little Z-fold mattress. We also use those Lumio blow-up mattresses that work very well, especially when we're hiking. Yeah, so a 3x3 dome provides a lot of space, actually. Nice to be able to stand up, change clothes and all of that. That's one thing with the rooftop tents, which is great as a on-the-fly go, as what I mentioned earlier. But there's nowhere to really change. You can have those drop-down shower units off the side, which work really well. But there's nowhere to really stand up and change and get things sorted out. So, you know, if you're staying somewhere for a few days like we are now, a 3x3 tent just works great. And they're relatively easy to set up and don't take up too much space. And I also find very useful is one of these mini blowers, especially up here in Botswana where it's so dusty. And when you get somewhere and you just want to, you have been absolutely smothered, everything's full of dust. This blower is great to just clean out the vehicle, clean out your tent, clean out whatever. So a little blower is definitely worth having. It's really small, packs away nice and easy. And also a good sort of heavy duty compressor. You know, you get little cheap compressors, but you know, your liters per minute it takes you forever. When you're in the sand, like up here, and you're deflating, inflating 4 tires, it can take forever, and they heat up as well. And if it breaks on you, then you've got a problem. So, just a good heavy duty 4x4 compressor. Like everybody else on the Overland channels, the Indiflate. We use the Indiflate I've got for the two tire ones, which we deflate 2 tires at the same time, and then we'll do the other 2 afterwards. But it definitely speeds up your deflating and just evens out your pressures quite nicely. Camping chairs. Now, I know it's great to have these big elaborate sofas, and you know, it's part of your luxury to be able to sit in these big things, but I find that they just, when you're pressed for space, sometimes it's a bit overkill. And I picked up these little chairs in the States, these Ascends, but there are a lot of varieties that are out in South Africa now, and we use them for backpacking as well, and hiking, and for school sports and all sorts of things. And they fold up into a tiny little bag, and they take 2 seconds to open up, and they're super comfortable. Sit around a fire. Doesn't look like they'll take weight, but trust me, they do. I think they're rated up to like 200 kilos. And I just find them super useful. They don't take up any space, and you can just throw them in the corner of the vehicle somewhere. We have always used this, it's an older RSI stainless steel braai. I just prefer having my braai with my grid on it and knowing what I have every time I go somewhere, and it takes up no space. And one more item that I nearly forgot to talk about that I find is super, super useful are these telescopic ladders. Now, obviously on your rooftop tent, it normally has its own ladder, but to get one of these bad boys that folds down to nothing, it's super strong, and folds dung, 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 back down. And when you're trying to get onto your roof rack and you're trying to get a gas bottle off or get to your ammo boxes, these vehicles don't have many places to put your feet. So this little bad boy is an absolute win. So yes, in a nutshell, that is our setup. As I say, there are things that we'd like to still do or upgrade, and one day even go back to a Land Cruiser again would be amazing. But the Hilux does us well. We just love our setup. It works for us. And like I say, you don't need to have all of those things. You can get by with just, you know, whatever you have or whatever you can afford. But the main goal is just to get out there and go camping. Everybody's got a different setup. I think it's a great hobby to be able to go out to campsites and walk around and look at everybody's setups and who's done what, and steal ideas and borrow, you know, thought processes and experiences that people have had, and the reasons why they do things the way they do things. And campers are super friendly people, and they want to engage, they want to share their ideas, their experiences and their reasonings why they do things. So camping is just absolutely fantastic. And for the kids, I mean, the amount of friends that the kids make running around campsites, not here, there's nobody on site where we are right now, unfortunately, for the kids, but generally in other campsites there's a lot of kids flopping around and playing on bicycles and that, and they make friends and off they go and they do their thing. morning, team. It is early morning and we had lions all night calling close by to camp, up and down, hyenas in camp. It was quite cold last night, colder than the other nights, but we're in the car, we got the heater on, and we've just got on the road, and we are going to make our way up to Mababe and then take a cruise along the depression to Savuti, and then up Goha Gate today, and Goha to Kachikau to Muchenje. So yeah, gonna be a fun day. So it is 7:30. We've just come through Mababe Gate and we have come into Chobe National Park and just come out and popped out on the Mababe Depression. Very special place. I spent a lot of time on the other side of the depression, not too much time on this side, but super special, lovely time of day to be out here.
There's a load of termite mounts. Big ones.
I picked up a lifer. So I've never seen a harlequin quail. Picked up a couple of common quail along this marsh road here, along the Mababe Depression. Some commons jumped up and flew. Another 2 quail came around the corner and were sitting on the road and allowed me to get super close to them. Harlequin quail, male and female. That is exciting. Didn't expect that one. We've just stopped for a little stretch of the legs by the baobab just around the corner here. We're in the Savuti at the moment and we've got the Savuti channel just behind us, and there's a spot here where you can park and you can actually, they're happy for you to get out the vehicle and walk up, and there's some bushman paintings up here on the rock, so we're going to go and see if we can see them quickly.
Whoa! That almost hit me in the face. This is supposed to be an elephant with the legs here, then the body here. Then I don't really know what this is. I think it's a man.
Good drawing.
This is an elephant. This is the kudu. I mean the buck.
Oryx.
Then that's the eland. Then there's a faded one. I can't really tell what that is.
What is the one? So this is not the place to be cutting toenails like Connor Curtis is doing right now. Because look at this road. We are on the road effectively from Savuti campsite, the parallel road to airstrip, heading towards Gohard Gate, because we are heading up to Muchenje. We're still on our transit trip through the Chobe, and I think so far, and in a way I hope we jinx it, but not that we're looking for them, but we have not seen an elephant today since leaving Mankwe, coming into Chobe along the Mababe depression, doing the marsh road, coming up past the Baobab to all the Savuti pans on the ridge there to Goha now. We have not seen an elephant, and it is now 12:20 and we left camp at 6:15 this morning.
And I've cut my first toenail.
And Connor's cut his first toenail. He's really going to cut his toe off. So for those of you that are driving this road to Goha Gate, you might find a big toe or a little toe hanging on the side of the road somewhere. But we have reached Goha Gate. It is 100 meters ahead of me, and none of these little water holes which are along the route here next to the road, which have water, there wasn't even elephants at those. So we made it the whole way through Chobe National Park from Mababe Gate, well effectively from Mankwe, but Mababe Gate to Goha Gate without seeing a jumbo. Goodness gracious me. Wow.
So weird.
Hey team. Yeah, there's another one.
Yes, but then you can still give him a squeeze. Yes. Nice to see you. Yeah. Nice to see you.
Up early again this morning to make our way through the Chobe Reserve to Kasane, where we are going to Kasane, halfway to Kasane, and hopefully they will fit the gasket for us today in the vehicle. And what I arranged to kill a bit of time, that'll take them some time to get that done most of the day. So I've organized a little fishing boat, and we're going to head out and see if we can catch some, we're going to aim for Nembwe, like a bream type fish, but we might just play with tiger. It's not the best time of year for tiger. Alright team, so here we have Feme and Balu from Halfway Chobe, and great shout out to Halfway for helping us out again. Andre got the parts to be sent up. It should be arriving today, hopefully, our gasket, and we've dropped the vehicle off this morning here in Kasane, and they are going to fit it for us, and we're going to kill some time. We'll hit the river, do some fishing.
So right now we are going to go catch some Nembwe on the Chobe River.
We found this little bay where there's a lot of little tiger fish, and they're so funny because whenever you catch them you can just see them, they come off because they jump, but the trick is to quickly reel them in and put them in the boat. And I'm very lucky that I caught this little one, but these are all little ones, the first fish of the day.
Good.
I got a tiger fish smaller than Connor's. I thought Connor was the smallest I've seen.
How's this little tiger? Look how cute he is. Hello dude.
So I just caught this little tiger fish and we're gonna let it go now.
So right now there's a crocodile right over here, and he's very chill. He's just on this dead tree, and there's like a little grass patch over here, and he's just laying here. He's so calm.
So this is called an heronry, and there's lots and lots of herons and darters and spoonbills, and there's lots and lots of birds in the trees, and there's even quite a lot of crocodiles here too. Are we gonna fish in this spot?
Fams came and fetched us this afternoon. The part arrived a little bit later than expected today, but Africa time always works. And she came and collected us in town in Kasane, and we came back up to the shop, and we have an absolutely spotless Hilux parked there. It's been fixed, the gaskets have been fixed, a couple of bolts sorted out on the exhaust. This fitment and service and everything that was done here was kindly sorted out by Halfway. Guys, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much to Andre and his team and Maun, to Neil back home, Halfway 4x4, to Shane, and then to Fams, who's been absolutely amazing, and the whole team, Baloo and the guys here, super friendly, super helpful, and just in every way. So guys, thank you very much, Halfway. You guys are absolute stars, really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to coming through on another adventure up this neck of the woods sometime. Cheers, guys.
Right, morning team. It is 8 o'clock on, I have no idea what today is, Saturday, and we have packed up at Muchenje campsite, which was absolutely fantastic. I actually didn't get much video of it when I should have, because it's a very beautiful little campsite on the floodplain with there's water there at the moment. Great birding, great little viewing deck, wonderful ablutions, electric points, running water. I think about 6 or so, 7, 8 wonderful little campsites with fantastic views and sunsets, and then some little cabins and a swimming pool, etc., and a shop. It's a really great place. It is between Kachikau and the border post of Namibia here, the Chobe side. So yeah, it's definitely worth the drive to come and stay here than in the hustle bustle of Kasane town. So yeah, a great stay there, 2 nights, but we have packed up and we are on the road. We are going to hit the waterfront along the Chobe River in the reserve now and make our way through to Kasane, and through Kasane to Victoria Falls today, through Kazangula and to Vic Falls. So hopefully that all goes smoothly.
How's it, everyone? So have a look at this. We along the Chobe River, heading back towards Kasane, and there's these couple of like licks, we call them kind of licks, where there's obviously minerals in the soil here, and the impala, a lot of antelope and species, a lot of animals do this, but there's obviously a high concentration of minerals here that there's a deficiency in the animal system, and they are licking out and getting the minerals. Here we have a little herd of impala, a little breeding herd of impala, and some of the individuals are actually in the hole, busy licking in there. And then there's a couple on the outside. Obviously, there's the dust is containing some of the minerals in there as well. But it's pretty cool. There's a great example of it. A lot of antelope do this. But this is kind of a great scenario with this deep hole. There's a couple of deep holes here. Actually, there's another one there. And these impala are busy at it. Right on, team. So we have come through Kasane and we made it through Kazangula border post, and we are in Zimbabwe. So it's the first time the kids have come into Zimbabwe, so I'm excited for them. Big Falls was an old stomping grounds of mine. Worked on the crocodile farm there for a while back in 99, 2000. So super keen to show them around Big Falls, show them the falls. Yeah, so to be sure to do your TIP for Zimbabwe online. It's quite an easy process. Just go online, you'll get an email with a reference number, print that out, and then hand it to the guys here at the border post, and makes it quick and simple. It was a quick transition into Zimbabwe, and we're looking forward to a good couple of days here.
Hi, Connor. Hi. Hannah, hi. Nice to see you.
Big Falls, here we come.
We were up at 5:30. We decided to do a Victoria Falls sunrise this morning. So we're down here early. You can hear the falls, see the spray from the car park outside here, and we are about to make our way in.
So right now this is sunrise, and we came here for the sunrise at the Big Falls, and we are at the start of it, and it's so cool. It looks so powerful. There's just water shooting up everywhere.
Right, here we are, team. It is sunrise time at Victoria Falls. How beautiful is that? Magnificent falls. They are pumping. The Zambezi River is in full swing, and it's an absolute privilege to have the kiddies here at Victoria Falls. So here we have a magnificent view of the main falls. It's sitting at about just under 300 feet, but it's absolutely magnificent. Look at that.
The mist! It's so thick, look at that! It's scary, the only thing is that one mist! Oh no, God! Oh my gosh, it's so misty, it's so cool! Guys, it's so wet! So wet! It's gone through my jacket! It's gone through my jacket!
My t-shirt, my pants, my jacket, it's all soppy.
Connor's on fire!
So right now we saw Shallow's Tarako in this tree, and it was
so cool. It had like such a big mohawk.
Alright, so we finished checking out the falls. We spent a good few hours in there. Now I've brought the kids through the border post. We're on the bridge that heads over to Zambia, and this is where they do the bungee jumping and the gorge swinging and all of that, so they can at least see what it's all about.
I'm so excited for her.
Yeah, what? Both the kids want to jump, but I think the age limit's 14. But we'll find out what, maybe they can do something, gorge swing or zip line or something like that.
So right now we're in Zambia and we're about to do the zip line across the Victoria Falls.
Here we go, zip line from Zambia over to Zimbabwe.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
Bye-bye.
Let's go. Look at the camera. There we go. There's our man. There we go, hand. There you go. It's cool. It's video. What a boy. Was that cool?
Yeah, very
There we go. Champion. What a boy. What do you say? Woo!
Okay, look at the little half of the shoe.
Look at. Oh my God. So against the kids just did the zip line across the gorge at Victoria Falls. Woo!
You also did it, don't worry.
Ghana proceeded to lose a slop, and they went and fetched it for us. So they went down to the bottom of it. Didn't land on the river, fortunately.
Good.
But otherwise it would be in Korobasa by now, I think, or Kariba by now.
Riba.
Anyway, let's go on to the next adventure. And now we are going to see a good old friend of mine that actually used to film for me in the early days, Keith Sparks, and he lives up here in Zim, and he runs a company that trains all the dogs for the anti-poaching here in Zimbabwe. Some big projects actually outside of Zimbabwe as well. So looking forward to seeing an old friend and part of the setup.
Okay, so he's trained for tracking, okay? But he's also trained to apprehend people, to catch them, to bite them. Okay.
Hello, Beastie.
So the dog is looking for this, and you have to hide it, so they have to try to find it. You can smell it, I know. You smell
Smelt it?
You know something's up?
Body language, because the wind's blowing this way, right? Yes, we have a boy!
He wanted to grab it, but then he just looked.
That's how we are.
So I put on one of the jackets when the dog runs at you and bites your arm, and I just walked up to it when it was on the leash, and it pulled me, and it was so scary.
Slowly walk. Slowly walk.
Not your head, boy. Lean, put your head back.
Back a little bit. Okay. Whoa. 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 Whoa! You feel him pulling you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, right, you can take the jacket off.
Wow.
There we go, good job.
So we've just had a wonderful afternoon with a good friend of mine, Keith Sparks, up here outside in Vic Falls. And now Keith has got a company up here called Take Action. Well, they operate all over, actually, but most of their training is up here with their dogs and the canine units, predominantly from an anti-poaching perspective. So Keith just spent a little bit of time explaining to the kids what it was all about, showing them some of the pups that are coming through and training, some of the methodologies that they use on the pups. And then obviously with one of the bigger dogs, Connor Boy got in there and got his arm chomped on, could feel what it's like to be a poacher. I know he does look like a bit of a poacher, but put it in perspective. But yeah, it's a great deal, and great job, Keith. Really appreciate it, mate. And we'll put a link in the bottom of this video clip for you guys to go and click on there and go and have a look and see the great causes that these guys are working towards and protecting our wilderness areas in Zimbabwe and around Africa for that matter. So good job, mate. Thanks, Will, for the little rundown of the kiddies.
Cheers, love.
Team, so we've had a wonderful day and we're rounding it off with joining Debbie from Gracie Travel, Debbie Gracie, who we're staying with, and some of her guests at Vic Falls Hotel this evening. So yeah, looking forward to coming back. I've been here many times with clients over the years, just haven't been back here for a while, so looking forward to it.
Massive. It looks so cool from the outside.
So, elephants on your doorstep. So here we are in Victoria Falls, in town, in the residential area. As you can see, this is town. There's a whole bunch of bricks, there's a building, there's houses, all of that. We are staying with Debbie Gracie, good friend of ours from Gracie Travel, that owns Gracie Travel. Does a lot of our safari client travel for us, all the flights and destinations. And Debbie kindly invited us to come and stay at her place and stay in the garden. We pitch camp in the garden here. There are tenants in the B&B. So she's got the most amazing garden, and I'll show you around there. But last night the dogs were going wild in the neighborhood and making a hell of a noise. And this is the reason, because there were elephants walking down the street last night. Here is fresh elephant poop from last night. They're in the driveway next to the Hilux. So a couple of illies walked down the street last night between the houses, and that's pretty cool. That's what it's all about. That's what we know Vic Falls to be, and there's often buffalo through here as well, so pretty cool. But we're going to just clean up camp for the morning, and we're going to hit Vic Falls and go and do some cool things today. How are you, man?
Nice day.
You all right? Good.
So right now, we got our mini pancakes, and they're really, really nice.
How about this for a wicked breakfast? I'm having the French toast here at Baines, and the kids are doing kiddies pancakes. Yo, those are nice. Highly recommend coming down here to Baines, sitting on the deck and looking over the Zambezi. Just
Alright, that would be lovely. Are you having fun, my darling?
Yes.
So we've just shot up the Zambezi Drive to where I used to work on the crocodile farm, only to discover it's closed. Didn't know that. Tried to get hold of the owner, Nick, but couldn't get through there. So very unfortunate. The kids were super excited to see where we used to work and what we used to do at the crocodile farm and the way we explained it all worked. But just popped over the road to the old boat club here, where we used to come all the time and have a quick squiz here, at least show them this. And this is the boat club. Obviously a members only vibe, but yeah, lots of memories from this side as well. So seeing as though we can't get into the croc farm, I'll show the kids some of the hotels in the area, the old school ones, and this is one of them. This is the A Zambezi that just over the road pretty much from the croc farm. Great hotel on the river with its own launches, beautiful accommodations, pools, restaurant areas, and yeah, just a firm favorite for me for the Vic Falls area. And we're going to maybe pop up to Ellie Hills just now and then on to Safari Lodge as well. So we are up at Safari Lodge and we are decided to sit down and have a drink on the deck looking over the waterhole. Hey everybody, so here we are at a Saf Lodge here in Victoria Falls, and I am sitting with Moses. Now Moses is the man, he's the friend of the vultures here. So they have a vulture restaurant that they feed every day at about 1 o'clock. And it's an education experience for a lot of the guests to educate them to vulture conservation, to the multiple threats of vultures around Africa. Obviously there are a bunch of threats to our vultures, and behind us you're going to see we've got a lot of white-backed vultures and hooded vultures and some marabou storks, but it goes further than that. There are lappet-faced, we've got white-headed, and here they feed with leftover food from the lodge, vulture-friendly food, but it's just an opportunity to educate the guests as to the multiple threats like poisoning and poaching, etc. In variety of forms, lead poisoning, but as well as a lot of general poisons put out for what we call the muti trade as well. Our vultures are under big threat in Africa, and I think this is a great initiative. So Moses, thanks a mil for sharing with everybody here. It's a great deal to see all of this, and yeah, you guys are doing a great job, and we really appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So the kids haven't been at school for a while, so I thought we'd put us on a school bus and take them to school in Victoria Falls. Nope, we're not. This afternoon we're going to head out and go on to the Zambezi for a sunset cruise for our last night in Vic Falls before heading out back to Botswana tomorrow. You don't like sushi.
What?
No.
That's my favorite.
You don't want sushi, do you? So here we are. It's going to be our last afternoon in Vic Falls, and Debbie Gracie from Gracie Travel very kindly set us up on a private cruise. How about this? A little private jaunt on the Zambezi, a sunset cruise with pure Africa, and it's just the three of us and two lovely ladies at the helm here looking after us. Some wonderful eats and drinks, and we are going to spend a couple of hours going up and down the Zambezi.
This is so cool. Right now we are on a boat cruise on the Zambezi River. This is my first time being on one of the private boats, and it's so cool.
You guys are delicious.
Living the life.
Alright, so we've just had a pretty cool sighting of a whole bunch of African skimmers. I actually saw 3 in the beginning, and we came around, searched the little sandbars. How many sandbars around at the moment, and there was about at least 10 to 15 African skimmers. So Connor Boy whacked a couple of photos, I grabbed the camera, took a couple of photos. We got some cool stuff out of that. Very special to see African skimmers. Okay team, so we have just left Victoria Falls for the next leg of the tour. So we are heading south now, and we are going to be going back into Botswana this morning or today, through a small border post called Pandamatenga, through old safari areas that I've done quite a few safaris over the years, through Matetsi units. The Jensi 5 and 4, 5 and past 3 just before Wangi. So yeah, we're going to take a right. We're going to go through Pandamatenga, and we're going to camp at Pandamatenga this evening and then head down to Elephant Sands tomorrow. But we've had a wonderful stay in Vic Falls. Been fabulous. The kids have seen a lot. They've seen a lot of what Vic Falls has to offer, and we've been very blessed with where we've been staying and camping, but looking forward to the next leg of the journey. So we've just come through the 2 border posts at Pandamatenga. It's a very small border post on the Zim side of Pandamatenga. Nice friendly staff, very simple, very quiet. Come through to the bot side, also very small, very quiet. Just a note on your vehicle insurance. So I asked, I've got it from coming through earlier, but I asked her what's the status, because I've heard that you've got to go up to Kazangula to get it, and she said no, you can come in the country here for free without it, because it's not our fault that they don't have the facilities to deal with it here. So she says no, you can come in, no problem. You just won't have it on the road to pay for. So there we go. So we are staying over for a quick stop at Pandamatenga at their campsite here. Really nice little spot here. Some lovely trees, some lovely benches, fireplaces, there's electricity. They have a little, call it a lodge in the back here. They've got about 6 cabins, 6 or 7 or 8 cabins in the back there that you can hire out. Nice little chalets, a nice big swimming pool and a restaurant area. They have Wi-Fi here, obviously running water, but it's just on the side of the border when you come through back into Botswana. So we stopped over here tonight, and we will then head down just 150 kilometers south down towards Nata to Eli Sands tomorrow morning. This road, I reckon, has to be one of the longest, straightest roads in Africa. I don't know, I have no idea, I haven't worked it out, but it must be at least like 100 kilometers of dead straight. So it's autopilot all the way through. Keeping an eye out for ellies though, and game, because obviously it's a wilderness area, but we are looking forward to getting to Eli Sands this morning. A nice big breeding herd of jumbos just across the road. Still more coming from the right hand side. Pretty cool. At Elephant Sands, and Elephant Sands is a very popular overlanding destination, stopover place for many travelers, and has been featured in many of the overlanding movies that the guys have made over the years. The guys were busy pitching tents there, battling with the wind, so I sent Connor Boy over to help them. So here he is, busy setting up and taking down some 2.4s, some 3x3s. He knows what to do, so he's offering his help. Pretty cool. Alright, so I think this is what everybody comes to Eli Sands for. It's renowned to have the jumbos coming to drink water right here next to everybody. So it is in the afternoon. We've had 2 bulls come in and drink here now, and they're giving a great show. Everybody's thoroughly enjoying it.
Right now we're at Elephant Sands, and there's 2 elephants here. 3, 2.
So schattig.
Oh,
baby. Oh yeah, he likes it. He likes it.
it is. It's a fabulous place. I think it's very popular. Obviously, as you can see behind me, there's an elephant down there at the moment at the water, but lots of elephant come to drink at this waterhole. Obviously, we're in winter at the moment, so it is a super popular waterhole for the Ellies to come to, and just sort of peeling in during the day, in the evenings after dark, and there's floodlights by the dining areas and the braai areas over there, and you can sit with Ellies at a couple of meters away from you as they drink.
There are 4 elephants behind me, and they all are where the pipe is for the fresh water, and they've been fighting a little bit so they can get the fresh water, but it's really cool.
They've got the fresh water coming in close to the restaurant area, so obviously the big Ellie bulls prefer to go and drink the fresh water coming into the pan. So it provides for absolutely fabulous sightings.
Okay, so right now it's a really hot day today, and we have 2 elephants behind us. This one is a big one, like an old one, because it doesn't even have a tail. And I think it's from when he was younger, because it might have been from a hyena or something like that. So
there are a variety of accommodations. I think I counted 38 now, tents or chalets as it were, on stilts here around the pan, and then you've got numerous camping sites off to the side of the restaurant area. They are pretty basic, no electricity or anything, no taps, but you have water at the ablution facilities and the cleaning facilities at the back there. And then obviously your restaurant reception area is pretty neat. It's very well done, and they have a swimming pool there. They've got a small shop, a curio shop, and then the reception, then you've got a bar, a cash bar, and numerous tables to sit and have with a menu obviously, and you can do breakfasts and lunches and dinners here if you want to, and then sit around a lovely fire in the evenings close to the water. So it's a great atmosphere. A little bit crowded around the waterhole, to be honest with you, but the animals, well, the elephants at least, still tend to come in and drink here. So it just makes for a great opportunity. It's high season now, so when we arrived yesterday it was quiet. There was nobody here. We were here early in the morning, and then just the vehicles flooded in and we were surrounded. The campsite, as you can see, is filling up again behind me here. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people coming through. So yeah, just put up with that, but most people are here for 1 day as a stopover, or possibly 2 days. Definitely add it into your next tour, especially with guys going up towards Kasane and doing the circular route really that way around, or on your way home. It just makes for a great stopover. So tomorrow we're going to pack out of here and we're going to make our way down to Woodlands at Francistown, and then from there back home into South Africa. But we've had a fabulous stay, just taking it easy, just chilling out, because sometimes you just need to do that on an overland. I mean, sometimes it's just go, go, go. You're packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking, driving, packing, and you know, sometimes it's just nice to wussa, spend 2 nights, have a full day just to take it easy, sit around the pool, do a whole lot of nothing, catch up on a bit of Wi-Fi that they've got here, and just enjoy those big old elephant bulls that come in to drink. What's up, team? So we left Elephant Sands quite late this morning, just spent some time with Uncle Ben, the owner, and we made our way down to Woodlands. We're on the dirt road just before Woodlands now, and we're just going to spend tonight here at Francistown. So the road between Elephant Sands and Francistown, yeah, there's quite a few potholes and quite a lot of roadworks going on, and some big heavies and some big potholes, so just take care on that road. Don't expect to go super fast along there. A couple of traffic cops checking for speeding, but we didn't get stopped anywhere, but we're nearly at Woodlands. Right, so here we are at a kind of last stop in Botswana, and we booked into a place called Woodlands outside Francistown. This will be our last night before heading back through the border tomorrow into South Africa, but it's a really delightful little place. Bunch of really nice, well-shaded campsites with running water and electric points at some of them. We've got a really nice ablution facility over there, and swimming pool, a couple little sort of chalet cabin type deals here, a little deck down by the dry riverbed down here, but it's a long sort of riverine vegetation, so really neat for bird life and that, and the kids have met up with other kids that are part of family here, and they've all gone off birding on the little walking trail, so sent them on their way. But it's a really cool little spot just outside of town, and yeah, I think definitely worth coming to stay. So we've set up just for the one night. They have a little reception area where you can buy pre-cooked meals, braai packs, and some chocolates and juices and drinks and things like that, and a bunch of curios in there as well, and firewood. So kind of got the basic supplies for what you need for a stopover on part of your journey. So Woodlands here in Francistown, Botswana, lovely little spot. Right, now it's time to round up, as we're almost at the end of this overlanding trip, our trip around Botswana and into Victoria Falls with the kids over the last, it's been 18 days now, we got 2 days left for the trip home, but I don't think I'm going to do too much filming. But I thought now at Elephant Sands, it's our last evening here in Botswana, north of Nata, is a great opportunity to kind of reflect on the goods, the bads, about our setup and what we have, what we'd change, what we'd do differently to what we've done this time. As you've seen in the video, we have the rooftop tent on the Hilux, and I've also been carrying a 3x3 dome tent with us, and depending on the situation, if it's a one-night stop, we'd just pitch the rooftop, and sometimes I'd sleep out in the stretcher or in the hammock, and if we're in for a couple of days somewhere, we'd throw out the 3x3 as we have behind us in this camp and have the rooftop unopened. I particularly enjoy our Howling Moon rooftop. It's a great tent. However, if there was one thing I could change on that, sometimes it is a bit of a hack, especially when you've got the 270-degree awning. We've got the Alucab awning, which is fantastic on the side, and then you've got your ammo boxes and stuff up against on the roof rack on the cab. Sometimes getting in there with the zip and zipping it all around, getting it closed, and folding everything in, and the zip getting a little bit dusty. Sometimes the zip's a bit of a hack to close, especially for the kids. When we get to a campsite, I get the kids to do their jobs. Hannah's got jobs to do, Connor's got jobs to do. They set up the tents, they open things out, get the bedding, get the chairs, do all of that stuff. And Connor's job is normally the rooftop tent, and it's sometimes difficult for him to get in there and work all of this stuff, and I have to end up going in there and trying to help him getting it zipped up and zipped around. So if the opportunity ever arises, I think from the perspective of traveling as a dad with two children, smallest children, with the work that needs to be done, I possibly would like to look at somehow trying to get a hard shell rooftop tent at some point. That's a lot easier to set up and close down. Obviously, I've also got a little bit of a rub going now on the cover on the rooftop tent there, on the external cover, although it's been strapped down tightly with the straps that come over. We've got a little hole, and obviously if it rains in the future we could end up with a bit of an issue there, but it's small for now. We can plug it, we can make a plan as always. However, we do like it. It's super comfortable and it provides a lot of space, but for the purpose of it is as one night stops, I think a hard shell rooftop would work great for us in the future. So that's one thing I would change. The rest of the setup works pretty well for what we're trying to do. I'm super happy throwing out this 3x3 when we need to. It's nice space inside there. We've got the Lumio mattresses, blow them up. I've got a stretcher for me. That works well. In the back I have the fridge. Currently it's only a fridge. I think at some point I'd need to get a fridge freezer combo to be able to freeze stuff up. And Hannah's just come back from some swimming, so she's nice and cold. Yeah, so in future I want to look at doing a fridge freezer combo for the vehicle. There is an obvious need to freeze things up, some meat for traveling, and at this time I just used another cooler box with lots of ice to keep the meat as frozen as possible for as long as possible, until it started melting. Yeah, from the vehicle perspective and what we have set up on the vehicle, super happy with the way it works. The water tank on the top, we just modified a hose that comes down that we can tap into the water there and get it easily. A lot of the places, especially in Botswana, the water's not really drinkable, very salty water, saline water. So just make sure you got a lot of water on a trip like this. So we carried a couple of jerry cans as well as that 40 liters of water, and it worked pretty well, especially for cleaning up and washing and that sort of thing. And then I just used ammo boxes for everything. We don't have sliders for the back of the vehicle, but being able to stack and move ammo boxes. But now on that note, to be honest with you, the traditional ammo box, and I've used them forever, but I'm just going to vent about it now, with these little latches that clip up on the side. When you've got ammo boxes all stacked next to each other and you want to get the lid off, you've got to move everything to get wide enough to get these latches up on either side before taking the lid off, and then they snap and they break, so they're an absolute nightmare. I know there are ammo boxes out now with the lids with like a little latch, locking latch on the top, which is number one, and we'd love to go to that someday, because these things are painful, are very painful. But they do stack nicely, they do slide in nicely, and that works. Obviously we have the solar panel. I didn't always set up the solar, and actually today, because we've been sitting for sort of a day and a half, we haven't moved the vehicle, ran the battery flat. We just got one of those little battery chargers, clipped that onto the battery terminals and started up, and we got going again. So those things are invaluable, especially if you're driving an automatic. I'd highly recommend one of those. But we've got those tire spare wheel covers from Market 4x4 Assist, and I tell you what, with all the little pockets on there and that, they are super useful actually. We got the 6-pocket version, and you can get multiples of that. You can get a 1-pocket, a 3-pocket, a 4-pocket, etc., for whatever you need. But this thing has worked really well in storing braai grids, these little folding tables in there. Can even put our little mini camp chairs in there, the Ascend camp chairs that we use. They're small, but they work so well and pack away, to absolutely nothing. So yeah, those work really, really well. And back up to the roof rack, we obviously have the gas bottle up top there, 5 kg gas bottle. That's just obviously super important. We use it for all sorts, for cooking, for cleaning, heating up teas and coffees, and and heating up water for washing up dishes, etc. With one of those little foldable buckets. I mean, remembering that we're traveling 3 of us just in a vehicle with no trailer. I'm opting not to travel with a trailer, and so we're going sort of light scale on everything, and it all seems to work pretty well, with these fold down buckets and a little kettle that slides into our kitchen unit on the RSI canopy. And now that smart cap canopy is just awesome. We absolutely love it. We've had it on for a few years now, for I think 4 years, and it's top class. So we've got a gull wing on the side that's got a kitchen unit in there, and you modify those as to how you need. We've chosen to put the things that we seem to use inside there, and very happy with the way that works out. And obviously, like other accessories that we've got on the vehicle, things like spade and sand ladders and high lift jacks and galambas, those are all bolted on and strapped on in different places, and are useful at different times. Rather have it not need it than need it and not have it. However, we've used them many times. My spade has worked. This is actually a new jack. I lie, this jack hasn't worked so well, because I sold my last one with the last vehicle, but this one's pretty new, and the Calamba on the other side has worked its way through stuff. So also keep a little axe and an ammo box. So we keep one ammo box with a bunch of spares in there, with recovery gear, tow ropes, shackles, the blower, which is super useful, air blower for cleaning out the vehicle and sand and dust and everything everywhere. I find that as a super useful tool in your overlanding setup. And tire wise, I'm just running the Salem, what are they, Terra Max RTs. It's a pretty cheap tire, but I'll tell you what, I've been super impressed with them. We've dropped our air pressures as we've been traveling, going through the sandy areas, through the sort of Chobe areas, dropping the tire pressure down to sort of 1.5 to 1.8. Worked very well. You don't want to run the tire pressures too low too often on the tires. I think the sidewalls are not really designed to be run at that low pressure for an extended period of time. Make sure when you get back onto gravel roads and tar roads to beef them back up again. I'm running the back at sort of 2.8 to 3 bar because of the load, and about 2.5 on the front for our trip, and it's worked very well, and the wear on the tires seems to be good. So touch wood, haven't got a puncture yet, and they've served us well. Used many different tire brands over the years, just experimenting at the moment with these ones, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job for us. And then inside the vehicle, inside the vehicle, we've got I think one of the biggest parts about traveling with children is keeping them entertained. I mean, to consider that they're not driving and they can get bored pretty quickly, to allow them to be able to play on their phones or tablets, play games, read books, that sort of stuff. So we put charging ports for devices, because I think one of the biggest things about traveling is charging things. Everything we use these days needs to be charged, whether it's a cell phone, GPS, power banks, tablets, cameras, you name it, they all need to be charged. So you don't want a shortage of USB ports in particular. And obviously in the back for 12-volt stuff, I've got an inverter that you want to charge from 220, especially camera equipment and that sort of thing. We do that in the back. I've just got a 1000-watt inverter in the back, and it works very well. So we've got a lot of campers coming in here to Elephant Sands this afternoon, and then just make it comfortable for them, pillows and eats and snacks and sweets and that sort of stuff, and let them alternate between where they're sitting. It's always a war between siblings to who sits in front and who sits in the back, but there's positives for both. So you just run those positives past both of them, and they're happy to share. Who gets to choose music that's playing in the car, who gets to lie down on the back, etc., etc. So if you're sitting in the front, play music. So Hannah and Connor travel absolutely beautifully in the vehicle. They really they're just absolute little blessings in the car. They don't complain. They sleep when they want to sleep. Don't ask if we're there yet. And just they thoroughly enjoy the tours. I let them play. It is what it is. But when we get to areas that are interesting and have great scenery and that sort of stuff, I make sure that they heads up and soak up what's around them. Both of them can drive, so when we're in the bush and we're in destinations where they can sort of get involved and it's safe for them to drive, at least from a other people on the road perspective, I let Hannah and Connor drive, and they both do super well. This is an automatic, so obviously it makes it easier for them to drive, but a lot of 4x4 work and orientation on the roads. Connor's only 8 and Hannah's 10, and they have been driving for a couple of years already, at least both of them. And it gets them involved in the trip as well. Obviously just be aware of areas with high elephant concentrations and water crossings and that sort of stuff where you might get yourself into situations, but they do super well in those situations. But overall, this trip around Botswana has been absolutely fantastic. We haven't had any, touch wood, we haven't had any issues. We've had a vehicle issue that Halfway Toyota very kindly accommodated and sorted out for us, from Maun, from halfway in Maun, from Ngamiland Toyota to Halfway Toyota Chobe, and Feme at Kasane was absolutely fantastic and helpful in all that she did for us, as well as Andre at Ngamiland Toyota, in replacing or ordering and repairing and replacing a gasket, an exhaust manifold gasket for us, which they did free of charge. So Halfway Toyota, a huge shout out to you guys. You guys really came to the party and looked after us on the road. And traveling as a single parent, as a lone adult with 2 children, 2 young kids, obviously there is the thoughts of risk on the road and certain things that can go wrong. And obviously I took a lot of that into account. We have traveled a lot as a family, the 3 of us, and done a lot of this sort of thing, and going to another country perspective. Botswana this time of year, in the mid-year school holidays vibe, is very busy with tourists. There's a lot of people on the roads, there's a lot of traffic, even in those remote wilderness areas. So effectively, sooner than later you'll get assistance from other travelers should it be required. But to top that all off, there's communication is the main part in my book that you need in this scenario, like what I'm doing with little kids. And communication I dealt with in 2 ways. You get an app called Erelo, which we use big time for. I use it in the safari world of traveling all these different countries. It's an app that you can download, and you can pre-purchase airtime that that can be used within the different countries, and it works very well. The only issue I had now was in Vic Falls. It didn't seem to pick up in Vic Falls for the Zimtel one, but it did pick up on the Zambian network in some of the areas at the falls. So, but other countries, Botswana, I've used it in Mozambique, I've used it in Tanzania, Uganda, and Cameroon, and it all works super well. So you can pre-purchase airtime and data, and you don't have to go buying cell phones and SIM cards and all of that rubbish. So Irelo is a great app. But the other more foolproof one, because sometimes when you're out there you have got no signal anyway in these remote areas, and I have a satellite phone that I've used my whole safari career, and I preload airtime onto there for a year ahead, and I keep that in the vehicle, and preloaded on the sat phone is emergency contact numbers that could be needed in a situation, and the kids know how to use the sat phone, how to turn it on, dial it up, and get signal, etc., etc. So in the event of something becoming a big of an issue with me, they should, touch wood, have the resources to be able to get help. At the same time, they've been taught how to read GPS and coordinates, to give positions, etc., and learn on the Garmin apps what to do there. But they know how to use the I use a GPS app on my phone called Gaia, and Gaia, it's a free app, and you can do a purchased version of it as well, but it's a great app for off-roading. I have Tracks for Africa on my Garmin in the vehicle as well, but Gaia, I just find as a phenomenal app, and give you a bunch of information. You can sort of offline, download offline data, maps for certain areas if you want to before you're traveling, if there is no comms, and then you can have different versions of the maps available to you, and you can record your distances and tracks and times, etc. So that's a super great app to have. So the kids know how to use all of that, and that's kind of one of the ways I mitigated the risk factor on this tour. I know a lot of people in Botswana through the industry and traveling, so we have people to contact should there become an issue at any point, and you just rely on your resources, really. But I mean, we've thoroughly enjoyed this trip. We haven't felt intimidated by any roadblocks or anything. Botswana's been great. We've been ushered through everything. Border controls have been great. We've obviously done the one through Stockport into Botswana, and we used Kazangula to go to Victoria Falls. That was plain sailing, straightforward. We made jokes and laughed with the fixing guys at the border post, but they were super friendly. Didn't hassle us whatsoever. And coming back into Botswana, we came to the Pandamatenga, the very quiet Pandamatenga border post, from the Matetsi safari areas into Botswana again, and that's super quiet. And on that note, going into Zimbabwe, you do online TIP, and just hand them the letter with a TIP reference, and they deal with it very quickly at Kazangula. Coming back into Botswana, my insurance, road insurance, vehicle insurance for the trip, the third party was valid. We just obviously told them the date that we're exiting Botswana right at the end, so that was valid for the entire time. And if you did need to get one and you were first entering Botswana through Pandamatenga, you actually can't get one there. And they say, well, it's not a problem because they can't offer it, so they can't hammer you for it and ask for money there. So yeah, you can't get one at Pandamatenga.